Yo, what up, homies? It's me, Thomas. Sorry I've been MIA. I mean, I always say that, but then I always do it again. But I always like to try different things, so this is something I want to try. The title of this video is probably going to be something like copying Jschlatt, because I recently saw his Jschlatt live, or what was it called? The Weekly Slap. That's what the YouTube channel is called. I saw that. I was like, you know what? I do remember when all these YouTubers would just play a game, just talk, just do their thing, and then just kind of, keep going, vibe out, have a good time with their friends, or just have a good game they're playing, having a great time, and then just talking over it. So I kind of want to give that a shot. Mainly to improve my talking skills, to not be so nervous around the mic, all that good jazz. And to be fair, I've been doing this for a few years now, so I'm not that nervous to hit the record button. And I have my own place, so yeah, there's that. So the whole point of this YouTube series, I'm probably going to try to do this daily, so you might see a lot of these, just because for once in my life, I want to do something that's consistent. And this sounds like a pretty consistent thing to do. So once a day, there's going to be about a 5 to 8 minute video of me just talking. And it can be about something I want to randomly talk about, or it can be about a question you guys might have. And depending on the question's length or how long the match took, that's how long the video will be. So just keep your eyes out and, subscribe. So this is the first one, so I kind of want to make an introduction. So this, like I just said, my name is Thomas. Everyone here is the homie. We're all homies. But it's going to be a weekly, daily thing, so find out. And today I want to talk about Mac Miller. So maybe some of you know who that is, maybe some of you don't. Mac Miller, aka Malcolm James McCormick, was a rapper, but he was a lot more than just a rapper. He was a jazz player, a pianist, a guitar player, someone with mental health issues, a drug addict. You could say all those things about him, and I wouldn't blame you for them, honestly. He was all those things and more. And his music, the last album that came out 2 years ago now, it had changed my life. And the reason I want to talk about him is because today is the the third year anniversary of his death. It has been 3 years since he passed away, and 2 years, or a year last year, since his last album came out, which was mostly recorded, but was finished by one of his mates. That's not a word I use often, but whatever. So I want to tell you what his music meant to me. I didn't really like his original stuff, his party stuff. I wasn't really into that because even growing up, I was kind of like the edgy kid when I was like in my teens. I was listening to like my Chemical Romance, all that kind of stuff. That edgy shit. What kids do, And so I wasn't really into his party stuff when I was a younger kid. But once I hit like my young adult years slash late teens, he started coming out with more jazzy, soulful, romance type of music, starting with the Larry Lovestein Diaries, the Divine Feminine, Swimming, Circles, all that stuff. It's more about mental health and love, and the reason I love it so much is because he would say lines and express his feelings in like no other way that I could ever think of. In the Larry Lovestein You song is just him just talking about what it's like to just love a woman. The whole Divine Feminine album is about how his different experiences with women, from the first track of just him talking about his first girlfriend who he was on and off for years. She moved out with him to LA. It was his high school sweetheart, and they were like gonna plan the whole world together. To a bunch of other songs about all the women in his life. You have Ariana Grande, Miss July Kelly. She's an Instagram model. And all these wonderful women, and I'm sure some of them are mentioned in there without us even ever knowing about them in that album. But that whole album is just what it feels like to love someone. And at the time, when you're a young teen or a young adult, you don't really know what love is. And to be fair, now that I'm at 22, I still really don't feel like I'm qualified to talk about all that kind of stuff. I have been in a relationship for a long time now. It hasn't been the most consistent relationships, but it has been a relationship. So maybe I'm not completely sure to know what I'm talking about, but I know enough to know that, I can talk about it with some clarity and to know that what you feel as love when you're 15, 16, 14, 17, maybe 18 isn't really love. It's just infatuation. And love is a lot more complicated than just liking someone and having sex and all that stuff. It's a lot more than just that. It's putting time into it, being effort, being upset, working through problems and stuff. And I'm not a very confrontational guy. So working through problems wasn't always my forte. I would always just run. But Mac Miller, his music kind of helped me understand those emotions a little bit more. And he was also a very depressed individual. That's why he did drugs. He abused drugs so that way he wouldn't feel so much pain from his mental health. And ultimately, that's what took his life. He died of a drug overdose. That cocaine is laced with fentanyl, and if you don't know what that is, then it's like super cocaine essentially. It doesn't always kill you, but it makes you very susceptible to an overdose. And who knows what else he was doing that day? Smoking, drinking, probably combining tons of shit. Because sometimes when you can't get out of your own head, you just create a new reality, and drugs do that. So he became a drug addict to deal with mental health, but that's never the answer. I highly recommend that if you ever have any sort of thoughts of ending your own life or anything like that, cutting, all that sensitive topics, I suggest get professional help or try other things to get addicted to, like video games or exercising, things that are not necessarily totally bad for you, but not necessarily too good for you, but also not that bad, just things that like you can get attached to without going overboard. But if you ever get a chance to listen to music, I highly recommend it. Thank you for listening. Deuces.